Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
A very good evening, and this is Friday's edition of Primetime News. We are coming to you live and direct this evening from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news tonight, I'm Joel Outscoon.
And I'm Arundhati Mudanaik. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Pakistan to dispatch 40,000 metric tons of fertilizer. President speaks of his successor as SLFP leader. New initiative to uplift cricket in the country. United States GSP concession expires for 122 countries, including Sri Lanka.
Now the stories in detail. The Pakistani Prime Minister has promised to immediately dispatch 40,000 metric tons of urea fertilizer to Sri Lanka. President Maithripala Sirisena made the announcement at a conference held in Colombo.
The local government candidates conference commenced with religious observances at the Sugdadasa Indoor Stadium. Candidates of 31 political parties who joined hands with the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the United People's Freedom Alliance to contest the 2018 local government election were present together with MPs and ministers. The candidates made a pledge to commit themselves to clean politics.
Sri Lanka Nidhas Pakshaya එක්සත් ජනතා නිදහස් සන්ධාන අපේක්ෂකයින් සමග ගමේ නගරයේ වංචාවෙන් හා දූෂණයෙන් තොර
රට තුල ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති වුණා.
There was a serious issue in the country and political opponents used this to criticize the government's foreign policy. I wrote a letter to Russian President Vladimir Putin. He later decided to lift the temporary ban imposed on Sri Lankan tea. This is a win for us. The fertilizer shortage in the country is widely criticized. I spoke to Pakistan Prime Minister Mohammad Sharif over the phone last week and asked him to help us in this time of need. A few minutes ago, I received a message from the Pakistan Prime Minister stating 40,000 metric tons of fertilizer will be immediately released to address the shortage in Sri Lanka. The candidates, parliamentarians, ministers, Prime Minister and even the President should not have a personal political agenda. The major obstacle we face in developing this country is most of the politicians are corrupt. This is the misfortune that has befallen the country. Everyone speaks of a clean political program. They do so because it is clear there is no clean political program in the country. We need a group of politicians who do not line their pockets and who do not destroy state resources for the personal use. After my term ends, the position of chairman of this party will be given to one of you and not a member of my family.
The President today has set an example and enforced a program where he would be the first to take action if anything wrong is committed within the government. There won't be any room left for any future governments to commit fraud and corruption. Therefore, this assurance is more important to us than the bag of goodies distributed by other parties.
The leadership given to this country has further strengthened the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the alliance. Therefore, this strength must not be tainted. I request you all to act in a manner where the honor of the President is protected.
The United National Party made great attempts to proceed with the old electoral system. The Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, Rishad Bathiuddin's party, opposed it. Dinesh Gunawardena wanted to retain the preferential vote system. We had issues and we faced obstacles. Despite all of that, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was revived. The UPFA got a new lease of life and we are proud to lead you today.
The President handed over the letters to the candidates who will be contesting for the 2018 local government elections. Many areas are currently being provided with fertilizer in a bid to address the shortage that affected farmers.
These filled with urea fertilizer reached the Pulastigama Agrarian Service Centre in Polonnaruwa today. Farmers in the area stated that fertilizer was distributed among them in a fair manner. Meanwhile, authorities are carrying out raids to nab traders who sell fertilizer above the stipulated price. The Consumer Affairs Authority today arrested a man who was selling fertilizer at a high price in Thabala, Polonnaruwa.
40,000 metric tons of fertilizer will reach the country in a few days. When that vessel berths in Colombo, we have arranged for 300 lorries to directly carry the fertilizer out of the harbour to the respective areas.
Minister Susil Premchand presented monetary aid to new inventors during an event held in Colombo today. Now, following the event, he commented on the joint opposition.
No, we wanted to do it before the election, but that opportunity is now long gone. After the results of the election are released, everyone will understand how power will be established according to the electoral system. It will be decided with time. This is just the local government election, but more things can take place. Therefore, we are paving the way for those possibilities as well.
දෙකට තියාගෙන තමයි වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ හැමතිස්සෙම.
සජ්ජාත් පස්සේ ඇතම් පාරිසම මන්ත්‍රීවරු ඇතම් අය ශ්‍රීලංකාවට දස්පස්සේ සම්බන්ධයි. දැන් මේක යහපාලනයට ගැටලුවක් වෙන්නේ නැද්ද?
නෑ යහපාලනයට ගැටලුවක් කරගෙන නැහැ.
No, it will not be an issue for good governance. It is like the saloon doors during the time of Mahinda Rajapaksa. It opens both ways. The same thing is happening today as well.
United National Party parliamentarian S.M. Marika had this to say about the electoral system.
This is an absurd election process. If 50 people vote for the JVP instead of the UNP because they are disappointed with the party, who will win? Not the SLFP contestant, the flower bud candidate will win. So if you vote for a different party, you are providing oxygen to revive the dictatorial administration of the past. What is our biggest mistake? We didn't punish corrupt individuals enough. There are 89 files of closed cases in the Attorney General's department covered in dust. Some say the former regime faced opposition from the people because of the actions of the local government chairpersons. They are the people who stole from even the construction of Lanka.
Who did the President refer to when he made a strong statement yesterday? Speaking at the AGM of the Government Veterinarians Association in Kandy, Minister P. Harrison responded to this question.
The President says he does not know who will get cut after he takes the sword to his hand. What are your thoughts? The President was not referring to us. He was speaking about the group who will be having a meeting on the 2nd. It does not refer to the United National Party. What he said was he will take the sword to his hand if one is acting against the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and his directives. He will do that as party chairman. Earlier it was said the saloon doors are open either way, but there is no one to pass. Former Minister Kehelia had hinted about something that will happen after the 1st of January. A group will cross over before the election, and there is no doubt about that.
And on our developing story this evening, we take a look at a story which was mentioned on the headlines. Sri Lanka and 121 other countries will lose the GSP concession being provided by USA by the 31st of December, as the US Congress has not reauthorized the GSP before adjourning for the year.
The Generalized System of Preference, GSP, provides duty-free treatment to goods of designated beneficiary countries. The program was authorized by the US Trade Act of 1974 to promote economic growth in the developing countries and was implemented in 1976. The current GSP scheme was approved by the US Congress in June 2015 after it has earlier expired on the 13th of July 2013. The 2015 GSP reauthorization will expire on the 31st of December 2017, and 122 countries including Brazil, Egypt, India, Indonesia, Iraq, Lebanon, Maldives, Pakistan and the Philippines will lose access to the GSP concessions. Both the Office of the United States Trade Representatives as well as the US Customs and Border Protection Agency states that similar situations have occurred in the past, and usually the GSP program is reactivated when Congress reconvenes. The United States is one of Sri Lanka's top exporters, accounting to 27% of the exports originating from Sri Lanka, or $2.8 billion worth of exports.
A lot of people are confused between GSP and GSP Plus. GSP trade concession is given to 120 countries across the world. which means the removal of this trade concession applies to 120 countries. So it is nothing special or nothing significant to Sri Lanka, because the entire structure of cost into the US will go up by about 3 to 3.5%. And if you take Sri Lanka's exports to the US, we had exported $2.8 billion into the US in 2016. Of the $2.8 billion, GSP only applied to $173 million worth of exports, which means it is only 6.2%. Right? If you take apparels, only 1% of apparels, that is $27 million worth of apparels into the US, was within the GSP's concession. So any right-thinking person would realize that this is not going to have any significant impact on our exports into the US. What is important is GSP Plus, which is what we fought hard and got.
State Minister Palitha Rangabandara responded to allegations raised on destruction caused to the forest area surrounding the Vilpattu National Park. Immediately afterward, environmental organizations convened a media briefing to respond to the minister.
There is someone called Anandasagar in Colombo. In Ukkulama, the people have no houses to live in. There are 132 families living there and they depend on fisheries. They have no places of worship and no community hall or even a preschool. They have no place to stay at all. When we attempt to build houses for those people, the group who enjoy luxuries in Colombo with the blessings of the government are making preposterous allegations. These monks are suffering and have no method of transport at all. However, they go in Prados, Pajeros and Ferraris. They say they are against drugs and tobacco. They have used that and told the president to deploy 30 soldiers to build a house in Vallavatta, the Hibala. This is how they are. Palitha Bandara has gotten wet. So when he sees a tree, he wants to eat it. When he sees a tiger, he wants to eat that too. When he sees an ecosystem, he wants to destroy that as well. The government is also the same. We cannot help people like Palitha Rangabandara and Ranil Wickramasinghe. Come back when you are dry, we are prepared to respond to you. Palitha Rangabandara's V8 SUV used the old Manor Road to reach Punkulam. The convoy of vehicles went across this ecosystem while crackers were being lit and green color plastic was hanging all over. We are speaking of the issues inside the Vilpattu National Park, and we have no issue with Palitha Rangabandara.
The trade unions at Sri Lankan Airlines responded to a statement issued by the CEO of Sri Lankan, Captain Suren Ratwatta.
There was a statement that was issued regarding this. There is no date on that letter and there is no signature on it as well. The idea here is not to issue communiques but to provide clarifications or answers to any queries that are raised by the media regarding high-ranking officials. They should go before the media and state their innocence if they are in fact innocent. When they do not provide clarifications, what is implied is that they are involved in these corrupt activities. As a trade union, we request these people to go before the media and clear themselves. Otherwise, as trade unions, we will have to take action.
Well, now all political parties have fielded several new faces to contest at the upcoming local government election. These are the views expressed by CMC candidate of the UPFA, Uma Chandra Prakash.
The President recently said that he will use the sword and remove unwanted powers in a bid to create a clean political system. I am contesting for the Colombo Municipal to take that ideology forward and for the betterment of our area and our country. Women's rights have been ensured through the local government election. The services provided by women for this country should be even stronger. We need your support in this endeavor.
Up next is a look at our investigative journalism segment, Action TV.
The general public has not forgotten the fiascos that were carried out by the previous government by labelling the Sri Lankan migrant workers Rataviravu, which loosely translates to heroes overseas. Instead of respecting the services that are provided by them, in addition to being the biggest contributors to the economy of the country, audit reports have revealed how the previous government embezzled public funds that were used even through the simple decorations and refreshments provided at propaganda programs for these Sri Lankan migrant workers. However, The people who have been held responsible by these audit reports have not even been inquired once regarding these malpractices. Though the government of good governance appointed a committee and made it a priority to look into the malpractices that took place during the time of the former regime within institutions that came under the Ministry of Foreign Employment, Promotion and Welfare, the report compiled by this committee is yet to see the light of day. Action TV exposed another grave malpractice pertaining to the same sector on the 3rd of November last year. The chairman of the Foreign Employment Bureau issued this particular circular, and it is so secretive that it has been omitted from the official website of the Bureau. Ironically, the original circular contains a note by the chairman of the Bureau stating that this gazette has been issued for a pilot project. Action TV highlighted that this gazette has singled out one travel agency out of thousands that exist in the country. An investigation conducted by the Ministry of Foreign Employment has proven without a doubt that this circular goes against the charter of the Foreign Employment Bureau. This is the report compiled by the investigation committee. For nearly a year, this report has been gathering dust. Action TV will reveal the explosive findings of this report pertaining to this issue and several other issues in the coming days.
Well, it's now time for the illustrated news by our resident cartoonist, Asanka Laduhetty.
The 3-year plan of the School Cricket National Initiative was launched in Colombo today under the auspices of Minister Akila Viraj Karyavasam.
The aim of the program is to develop school cricket to the national level. A number of past Sri Lankan cricketers were also present at the occasion.
It is from the schools that you first showcase your talents and enter the national stage to become players that represent our country. If we are to develop our cricketers to win the World Cup once again, the best place to nurture the talents is the school stage. That is why we decided to launch this program.
පාසල තුල ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාව නැන්වීම සඳහා ආරම්භ කළ යුතුයි කිය. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අඩිතාලම මම හිතන්නේ
I do not accept that the state of the school cricket in the country is responsible for the current state of the national team. There are issues plunging the national team. Cricket has become a commodity. We need to see how we can get our players to the good side of this commodity. Why did this happen? Proper plans were not implemented. Players like Muralidharan, Sangakkara and Jayasuriya don't turn up all the time. We need to create a proper system to nurture such players. We must invest in such a program. Only then will we receive a good return.
ඒ ආයෝජන තුලින් තමයි අපිට අවශ්‍ය කරන ප්‍රතිඵල ලැබෙන්නේ. අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් වල අපේ ක්‍රිකට් බෝඩ් එකේ ජ්‍යෙෂ්ඨ පුද්ගලයෙක් කියලා තිබෙනවා.
A senior individual at Sri Lanka Cricket had made a statement that you cannot give any responsibility to Roshan Mahanama because he does not fulfill the responsibilities. I need to tell this person something. Yes, I stepped down from positions on 2 occasions. I would have been happy if he said why I stepped down. Is it because I cannot do anything, or is it because I could not do anything in an honest manner? Our players will be taking part in the Under-19 Cricket World Cup soon. I can't agree with the decision to send 3 officials from the School Cricket Association with them. You could send an additional coach or player on this tour. Over the past 3 to 6 months, members of the ICC Anti-Corruption Unit have been in the country. Think about it. Will they come here if there isn't an issue?
ලංකාවට එයිද කියලා.
මේ ක්‍රීඩාව ජීවිතය වගේමයි ජීවිතය හා සමානයි.
This game is just like life. You don't need to be naturally gifted. If you study the game, there are plenty of things that you can learn. I am saddened to hear that the discipline in school cricket is not up to par.
අවුරුද්දක් දෙකක් තිස්සේම මම හිතන්නේ අපිට ඇහෙන දෙයක් තමයි මේ ස්කූල් ක්‍රිකට් වල විනය හරිමදි කියලා.
With the Christmas week drawing to a close, we bring you a story of a special Eucharistic Mass held at Yapeksha Hospital in Maharagama on the Christmas Day.
The Mass of the annual project, which has been carried out for 30 years, was officiated by Auxiliary Bishop Right Reverend Maxwell Silva and organised by the St. Mary's Church in Maharagama. Speaking to News First, Auxiliary Bishop Right Reverend Maxwell Silva said Christmas is a time when families should come together and should be more forgiving and accepting of others. Following the Holy Mass, gifts were distributed to the patients at the hospital.
A book authored by senior lawyer N.L. Godfrey Curé titled The History of St. Sebastian and Kandana was launched this week. The book launch was held at the Masnod College, Kandana, with the Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, attending as the chief guest. Chief Justice Pirsad Depp and Minister of Tourism Development and Christian Religious Affairs John Amaratunga were among the other notable attendees.
Now, over recent months, we have been forced to face the grim realities of the horrific impact we have had on the environment.
However, the BBC's upcoming nature documentary focuses on the cute and fluffy side of the life of polar bear cubs.
Well, stay tuned. Up next is Best First Review 360, featuring an interview with the Chief Economist of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Sharan Fernando, on the performance of the economy this year and the outlook for 2018.
I'm Arundhati Mudannaika.
And I'm Joel Outskun. If you missed out on any stories, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. We leave you tonight with the footage which we just mentioned. Take care. Good night.